Hello, welcome to Dog Hug.
Hi, everybody.
Right.
Hiding behind the baby.
Hi, Atlas. Look at Atlas. Hi,
Atlas.
Spider.
Big boy. Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Spider Atlas?
Oh, look at that puppy. What's he doing?
Oh, say puppy.
Say hi, Spider. Hi, puppy.
Good job.
He's so beautiful. Oh, he's so cute.
We're going to get Spider started here with his busy bone. That's where it is.
Look, he is so mad. He's demanding. He's got. Look, he's telling Larry like it is. He'll change his mind about some of that barking soon. Yeah, he's actually doing so much better.
Yeah.
But we do
Job.
we do recognize that there are a few more steps to take with him, but he has just done outstanding.
He really
Larry does a great job.
Thank you so much. Couldn't have done it without you, Geraldine. I'm serious.
Yeah. And we'll share more of what we did in an upcoming show about how we turned Spider into the trick dog instead of the naughty trick dog.
Yes. So October at holidays, we've got a big one. Pardon me? It's September.
September.
It's September already. It's September.
Hey, don't rush it.
Oh my gosh! Totally jumped the gun.
He loves Halloween.
Look at the calendar. You guys
I was ready for October, where we have, and we'll bring it back in October, Pit Bull Awareness Month. So we have, if you want to visit the Positively Wolf website, there are more than 93 articles on pit
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and where we bust the myth, but that's pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
We're a little
I
off.
love pit bulls. Pit
But you
bulls are
know what?
fantastic.
What?
We did an article on the tribute to the dogs of 9/11.
Oh,
So we talked to Ron Burns. Remember, Larry, when we were at Super Zoo, I think, a few years ago?
he has amazing
Talked
art.
to him and
I
we
can
have-
pull that up quickly from the website. His article on the dogs of 9/11.
Yep, and then
Just
we had
amazing.
the
His
painting.
whole book. This guy, world class. Oh, I found it. World
Amazing.
class artist.
An amazing book. I have one here, actually. He signed one for
that's
me.
Wonderful.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's great.
It was great.
Yes.
He was in the Loving Pets booth at Super Zoo, remember?
I do remember that. That's where we met him as well. So yeah, we did a whole. Oh, actually, that's right. We did.
Oh, I forgot that there was a video.
Yeah.
There's a lot of puppies. There's Look at that one. Cute.
So sweet.
That's a lot of puppies.
Yeah.
What a
Wow.
great memory.
Thank you for remembering that, Robbie. I just love all the pet holidays that you do on our pet calendar, folks, at positivelywolf.com. And Robbie has developed really one of the best pet holiday calendars on the entire internet.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Wonderful.
You've been working on that one for years.
It has been years, maybe 3 years, I think. 3.5 years.
Yeah. So that's a really poignant day. 9/11 is tomorrow. Yeah. Marilyn, get us into today's topic.
So how are you taking care of yourselves right now to help boost your immune system during COVID, or really any time, especially now that the weather is changing? We're changing from summer into fall. And I do know that temperatures have just cascaded across the country. I know that they even had snow in Colorado already. So Larry and Robbie, what are you guys doing to help boost your immune system right now?
Yeah, and as we talked about this on our pre-show meeting, I thought there are really three things that contribute to my well-being and lack of stress. And diet, sleep, exercise. And how am I doing? Sleep goes in waves. Sometimes I'm sleeping well, and sometimes I'm erratic. I'm just carrying too much stress with me. Diet, pretty decent. Exercise, I think it's been kind of in the crapper.
Which is true with a lot of people. A lot of people's routines, they had to learn a new routine or create a new routine for themselves. But you brought up three really great subjects, three really great points, which are, making sure you get enough sleep. Sleep really does matter. And if I were to pick one thing you could do right now to help you, that would be an amazing thing. And also breathing. The one I would add to that is breathing.
Oh, thank you.
We don't breathe enough. I do believe we hold our breath a lot. I know when I work with some dogs, they will hold their breath sometimes as well. And I'll have to, because it's just a normal response sometimes for pets to kind of freeze up a little bit when they're first training or learning or coming from a rescue. So today today our guest is not only is she, there are many things about her that we're going to discuss in the immunity or immune system boosting department, but she's also an independent journalist. She's a really amazing author. She has three fun books. I say fun because she actually makes understanding your student loans fun. They call her a financial geek, which I think is great. But she also, through her own self process, and she's of course a lover of dogs, but through her own process has learned how to boost her own immune system through a tremendous weight loss on her own. And today we're crossing that bridge between human immune system and dog immune system and what that really means and what you can do to help boost yours. I know that kids don't have immune systems and puppies don't have very strong immune systems. So I know, Robbie, you always probably pay special attention to taking care of him because of that and where he goes and what he does, correct? Of course.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
So it's a constant, something that should always be on our mind, but at some points in our lives, we kind of forget to bolster our own immune systems. So,
shall we bring Reyna in?
So we're going to bring Reyna in today. Reyna Gobel.
I know you all. Welcome,
Hi,
Reyna.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
So glad you're back with us.
Yeah, that's great. It's a funny thing. I started writing about dog health the same time I started writing about people health. One of the first articles was on your dog as your personal trainer, because kids and people we know in general, we're more likely to do things for other people or other beings than we are to ourselves. Like if Woof Woof wants to take a walk, he can't just say, I'm going for a walk now. Although he tried once, because there was a store that let him in off leash and he was a regular at the store and he had to go to the bathroom. So he didn't run. He just literally walked slowly to the tree outside to pee. And I'm like, oh, come on, Woof Woof. You're not supposed to do that by yourself. But he didn't want to bother me. So he just went outside and was like, I'll be back. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. So that particular article was about agility training. And the running around dogs do the different things that they can do within that. And then the exercises humans have to do to keep up. And when I did a dog obesity article for Reuters, we went into, because a lot of times, at least what the vet said, when there's dog obesity, there's human obesity that goes with it. And Woof Woof at 16 pounds would only have to be 19 pounds to have an increase for heart problems, diabetes. I mean, when we look at a lot of the vet bills, it could easily add up to $1 billion across the country in costs from dog obesity. So it's a good reason, A, to have pet health insurance, but also to think about getting your dogs and your cats exercise. For cats, because they can be a little trickier if you happen to be a mixed household of dogs and cats. The toys where you can put the food in and they roll the ball are great. And also, if you just have a cat that does not want to move for anything, but still wants your attention, I've told people to take walks around their house. And the cat will follow them and the cat will get exercise because they're just following you around, whether it's looking for a treat or because they want attention. And you give yourself 10, 15 minutes a day of just literally walking your cat around the house. And also, animals get bored. So if it's cat, then you want to make sure that not only do they have scratching posts, but things that they are legally within your house allowed to climb on. Because if you don't do that, beyond just health, they will find something to climb on. They will find something to destroy. And I'd much rather that they have a really amazing shelf than your couch.
You bring up a great point there, Reyna, when you talk about the feeding of cats and dogs when they cohabitate. Most people will leave cat food out all day. They'll let their cats free feed. Most people do not allow their dogs, well, some do not allow their dogs to free feed in that scenario, but the dogs will go eat the cat food. Then the cats don't get any food, and then they wonder why the cats and dogs fight and why the dog's fat.
And
So
it's really
kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, and it's really interesting when it comes to cats and dogs dieting, because
Different diets.
you can restrict a dog's diet easier than a cat's diet. And
Correct.
if you don't feed a cat every so often, they can have problems from that too, almost like low blood sugar issues. So it's pretty interesting, like the differences in that. And that's why it's really important. I would never, I probably wouldn't own a cat, but you never know. But if I did, then I would be very careful about their feeding times and really make sure, because when they're crying for food, it's not just that they're whining, it's they're whining for a reason, because they literally can get sick if they don't eat every so often.
Geraldine, you have a story about a dachshund.
Yeah.
Yes. When I was training someone to become a dog trainer for the Animal Behavior College up in St. George, Utah. So this girl was driving an hour and a half to attend my lessons for her certification. And the shelter she was volunteering at called me and said, "We have a dog and you're the only person we'll give it to. Please come get it. We do not want no one else to do. And we're so afraid we're going to have to euthanize it." So I was actually on my way back from Blog Paws in Utah, in Salt Lake, and I stopped by this rescue called Paws Rescue, and I picked up, his name was Wiener. So here's a picture of the day I picked him up. He weighed 55 pounds. He looked like a mammal, like a sea mammal. He did not look like a land mammal. And so brought him home. We changed his name to Rocky and got him going on a very, I was very careful with his diet, because you cannot detoxify them too quickly. That's something else for yourself. You know, some people go cold turkey. Well, you can't take a dog cold turkey without wrecking its organs. This dog had been eating hot dogs for a year and a half by its father, because that's all his father was feeding him. So he was poisoned, and I knew if I did not detoxify him slowly, there would be an issue. So then after about a year and a half, got him down to 15 pounds. He was a tweener.
Wow.
And he was a rock star. We used the dog pacer. We used I think it was the Honest Kitchen. We were very careful with his protein sources and his vegetable sources and his allergies. But beautiful dog, great personality. And he did pretty well for a while, but he did have to have surgery, and he did not make it through one of his surgeries.
Yeah. Now, Reyna, you have a 30-day challenge.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's the first round of it, and we're looking to actually get stats out of it that can be used in future studies by a few politicians that are looking at it too, because we really want to get stats on things you can do for the immune system that matter. It follows the elimination diet as far as the diet portion that I used myself, but with the LEAP test. So I do recommend the blood test too. But you eliminate one food at a time to see what you're really sensitive to. I used to be in bed for a month a year with my allergies, and I would just get really horrible sinus infections, and finally decided to do something about it. The antibiotics weren't working anymore. You get immune to them, or you get more resistant. And so as a health writer, I've written for Reuters and Weight Watchers and Today, etc. And I wanted to find what was really going on. Someone pressed on my quadriceps and told me I had a wheat allergy, and the allergist told me to give up milk. And during the winter, when my allergies would really act up due to cedar, in replace of have more soy milk. It turned out when I did the sensitivity test, soy will cause allergies. So I gave up soy and apples and rye from a blood test that is based on very scientific And I haven't had to take an antibiotic since, and I've lost 75 pounds that I've kept off.
That is
Lose
amazing.
a little bit more again, but 75 pounds that I kept off. And how I did it exercise-wise. So in addition to the fitness portion, which is also part of this 30-day challenge, where you'll actually get the videos from my friends, Elizabeth Halfpap and Fred DeVito, hundreds of thousands of DVDs sold. They've trained Barbara Streisand and Heidi Klum and anyone that you've seen on TV. You can do their workouts through Core Bar Fit as far as their Zoom classes now. And they're doing upper body, lower body, but most importantly, how to reduce injuries so you can work out at home safely, which is so important because we never know when we're going to get stuck inside again. And then my friend Betty Lochner, who is a professional therapist for 7 years and was the executive head of the entire college savings plan network for the entire country. She reps state treasurers, you name it. And she helps people not get fired by reducing stressful communication. So it's just so important. All those factors, she discusses sleep, really do affect your immune system and just how your health is overall. And so what we're doing through tomorrow for people that are watching is that there's a code DOGHUG when you go to 30i Challenge to get the course for $149 for the full 30 days. And with that code, we're also donating 10% to Animal Hope and Wellness, which will be my shout out later for the shelter.
You know, Reyna, you mentioned the negative or the stressful communication, which I think is something that people don't really take into account of how much it really affects your body and your mind and your heart when there's negative communication, especially when there's assumptions wrapped around negative communication, like someone thinks you're being negative, but you're not. Or you don't realize that when you come off to somebody negative, you don't mean to. So it's not your intent, but you don't realize it because you never really witnessed what you do, type of thing. But you bring that up, and it's so important. And I'm so glad that she's addressing that, because I think really it's something that all of us moving forward and coming out of COVID should be sensitive to towards other humans, but also really take a moment to step outside yourself and see how you communicate with your pet. And when you're negative with your pet and you don't mean to be, or you don't think you're coming off as negative, but you are, and it might be your training style, and that might be not the right training style for your pet if it's involving, the pet gets ill often or has issues, itching, different types of reactions from the pet's immune system being bombarded. So I'm glad that she's addressing that. I think that's just stellar, especially in times like today.
It's really important. Like, you don't want to avoid problems because then people stew and then you end up with bigger arguments. But you do want to try to have as much of a positive base underneath what you're saying, like that there wasn't a bad intention. Because if you start off with a thought, this person's going to have a bad intention, then every conversation is going to lead to a problem. And when people are stuck together in things like COVID, or you're dealing with the same people over and over and over again, not good to have disagreements. So there was a lot of communication that ended people, and there's others that brought people closer together because it was a time where you really saw who people are. And it's also a time to really work on how you deal with people, how you deal with your life. And this course was one of the things that I decided on during COVID, because it's how am I going to make a difference? And working with Stephen on his campaign, we did 7,000 care packages door to door in the Coney Island area, et cetera. And with a card that just showed that someone cared about them and if they had something that they needed, et cetera. And so it's just so important that people don't feel alone, and that that you say, I've got this one time of quiet in my life, possibly ever. This is a once in a lifetime thing, as long as you're not sick or that nothing permanent happened, to really decide who you want to be in life and what you want to do. We saw a lot of people that were supposed to be community leaders that weren't even making phone calls from their house to help people. And that's a really, really sad thing. And something Fred said
And you and Stephen, who is running for city council in New York City, out in the Coney Island district, went door to door and delivered care packages.
Yeah, and it was Stephen Patzer, and it was one of those things that it wasn't that we weren't scared. Fred DeVito, who's doing the fitness portion with Liz, he has this quote that I love: "You can be afraid and courageous at the same time." And I think that it's impossible to be courageous without being having some level of fear. Yeah, like totally. Like it's the emotion that gets us and drives us to do something. Where Stephen was like the steering wheel all the time with like disinfectant, and we're lucky because we had access to and gave the access to other people when it came to the hand sanitizers and gloves. And I just thought about all these people in these confined spaces, and we were in areas like that there was a lot of people in one place. But then when I went home, it's the second floor of a house, and I had my own space, and I was grateful for that. So there's so much to be learned from this, and I definitely say anybody who is healthy enough and takes care of themselves should be doing something, even if it's phone calls, even if it's donations, something when it comes to a crisis like this. Because if people get stuck inside again, then we've got to take care of each other.
I've heard it said,
start businesses, including Liz and Fred, with the Zoom, with the Core Bar Fit, where they are now living in the Hamptons and being able to work more from home. They were traveling the world all the time. Their classes for Exhale are in gyms, in Hyatts, literally all over the world. And they do retreats and stuff as well. And now they're able to do this together from the Hamptons, and it's amazing. And to help so many people, because the problem with at-home exercise, if you're not watching what you're doing, you can very easily injure yourself. Because, I actually wrote an article for the Today Show site on 20 different ways to injure yourself, and like the warnings. Yoga. So many people get injured during yoga because you feel so free, and then you stretch the wrong way. And
then boop.
I always used to say, never trust a yoga instructor who hasn't overstretched her hips at least once. So I actually went to a yoga therapist and learned some techniques, such as the windshield wiper feet, to not just straighten your feet, but to just angle it just a little bit one way or the other. To just really pay attention and know the signs before you overstretch.
Well, and make sure you're going to a positive place to exercise, or working with someone that's positive, because I have been to, I'm a yoga fanatic, and I have gone to some yoga studios where I walked out the door because they were just too negative. And I believe that when you go in there, you work at your own pace, and if they push you too hard, you are going to injure yourself. And so I'm always, check with your doctor, make sure that you're going to the right place, check around, ask friends, ask for referrals, check out on the web, do some research before you just dive in and injure yourself. And I'm so glad. Hopefully we can share that, your injury. I do believe that's a pretty nifty thing to share as well. And pets can be injured as well. You can over-exercise your pets. You never walk, and then one day you decide, I'm going to get healthy today, and you go out and walk 5 miles, and your pet's dragging behind you on the way back. So
you should definitely be paying attention to how your pet is responding. Woof Woof is very, he lets me know. He lets me know if I have stayed too long in a bodega. He lets me know, he's like, you can get coffee, you can sit here for a bit, but and if the coffee's brewing, he'll just take a seat. And he knows. And then he's like, all right, time's up. And when it was too hot for his feet, he'll climb my leg. And it's like, all right, time to pick me up. And then I know I should take him home. So he is very vocal. But there are other dogs that I know, and this is why it's very important to know your dog, that their feet will burn up. They'll just sit there and let their feet burn. And if you have that kind of dog, then you have to pay attention. That's where you touch your hand, or, when you're at the point where you have to touch your hand to see if the concrete's burning, you really need to ask the doctor first, because then you're going to burn your hand. So you may be similar to the dog. So you really have to be careful. And when it gets hot outside, just use that as a warning. Woof Woof and I went on TV in Las Vegas to talk about dogs and heat. And one of the things we talked about was just understanding your dog, understanding your dog's breed, at least having one talk if you live in a very high heat area or traveling to it, where you've spoken with a vet about what they need. From Petco, we have a cooler jacket. It costs like $10, and you just put it in the freezer, and then it goes on him, and then he feels.
It's a great tip.
Yeah.
Definitely a great tip.
Reyna, is there a quick last thing that you want to leave folks with before we get into wrapping up this great interview?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is, whether it's exercise or diet, is don't let anyone tell you what's right for your body. The important thing about this challenge and the course that we're doing is that it teaches you how to figure out what you need. And if you don't do that, I injured myself on a spin bike, which is a talent. I broke my tailbone, and it was because I listened to a trainer that had less training than I did. I'm a certified bar instructor, and she's like, push through it, push through it, push through it. I'm grateful for the empathy that I'm able to help others because of it, but I shouldn't have like broken my tailbone on a spin bike. I just sit on one of those donut things for like a year, and then I just recently was able to do a sit-up because of it.
I'm glad you can again.
Yeah.
As you know, on this show, we love to give shelter shout outs. And I know that you're big on so many rescue and animal welfare organizations. Who you got today, Reyna?
It's the same one that we're doing that 10% for, Animal Hope and Wellness. They're rescuing dogs all over the world, not just in China, but also they just recently rescued puppies who had COVID in Mexico.
Wow, great. Folks, we did a previous show with Reyna on the dog meat trade. It was an amazing show with this amazing dog who's rescued from the dog meat trade, Frankel. Thank you for introducing us to Frankel and Kim.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
let's get on with our shelter shout outs right now, folks.
I'm going straight for animal health and wellness because I'm so proud of them. I'm so grateful for their courage and getting out there and making the changes they have internationally. Very much. Thank you so much for what you have done and what you will continue to do.
I'm going to join you on that and look forward to meeting them because they're right here where I am in Southern California in Los Angeles. Yeah. Robbie, who does Atlas want to give a shout out to today?
I think Atlas just wants to give a shout out to himself right now because he wants to snap. You know
He's
what?
doing a great job with that.
You know, I'm going to go with animal health and wellness too because it just seems like such an important organization and such a great work that they're doing.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
go on with you guys on the same one.
That's great. Thank you for introducing us to them.
Yeah.
And Reyna, as you know, this show is about blessings and gratitude. Is there somebody in your life or in the world you'd love to give a shout out to, a blessing, some gratitude, a gift?
Yeah, my mom, Steven, like we're very lucky in that next week we're going to get to, it's the Jewish New Year, which is a time of reflection. And of course, Geraldine, just how many people are lucky enough to know Siegfried and Roy's dog trainer? Like you could cure cancer tomorrow, and I will still refer to you as Siegfried and Roy's dog trainer. And so it's the Jewish New Year is a time of reflection. It's literally the time where it says God's looking down on you to really evaluate what kind of person you are and how your next year will be. We're starting it by giving seniors honey and apples and challah bread donated by this local supermarket, net cost. So if you happen to be in Brooklyn, they have really, really cheap food, including kosher. And I just read a statistic that 80% of Holocaust survivors in this area are living below the poverty line.
Wow.
So really think about ones that still speak Russian and really think about like who's around you. And if you are Jewish or just, I mean, I do Lent with my Catholic friends, is think about this time of year as a time to say, what could I be doing more for the world, whether it's for dogs, whether it's for people, whether it's for the person in your life that needs immune system help.
That's beautiful. The idea of blessing each other and ourselves in the Jewish tradition is called Tikkun Olam, and it's our prime directive on this planet to heal each other and ourselves. My blessing today goes to, I'm thinking of my brother and his family up in Southern Oregon, and they are facing some very, very threatening fires right now. They've been closing down their properties. Yeah. And I know it's been pretty scary. Yeah, we'll get an update later today, I know. Yeah. Robbie, Geraldine.
So I am grateful for Dr. Brian Anderson, who is the Associate Dean of the UMKC Block School of Management. He helped me complete my first week of my last year of graduate school, and he's so inspiring and positive. We went through strategic planning and a lot of data analysis lately, and so I love him so much that our class got together and we made a bobblehead of him to give as a gift. We're going to give it to him tomorrow, so that's why it's okay that I show it today. But isn't that great?
If he's
I love this guy.
He's blown your cover here.
So if you are thinking about graduate school, you would, especially business administration and business management, you would absolutely love the faculty over at UMKC in Kansas City, Missouri. They're pretty fantastic. So thank you, Dr. Anderson. You have made this last year, and we're not done yet. We're actually going to go to Japan with him. So next year. So
the bobblehead after he gives you your grades, because just in case he doesn't take kindly to it, it may not help you get an A. I don't know if some of my professors would like that. You knew one of my professors that might have had a problem with it because he was a funny.
You're right.
Robbie,
You're right, Robbie.
Who would you love to give a shout out to today?
You know, because we're doing all this talk about health and everything, I am grateful to my daughter and son-in-law that they really don't give Atlas sweets. Nice. He gets so many vegetables. If he has a snack, they're like low carb, low sugar. They're really, looking out for everything that he's eating, which is good because I was raised on carbs and sweets, and that's really still all I crave. So I love the fact that they're just raising him so thoughtfully. And it's like, I really appreciate that because I want him to grow up happy and healthy.
Amen.
I love them too. Amen. Thank you for tell them thank you for us as well, because we're so proud of them.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us today on Dog Hugs, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. I think, Geraldine, you're going to be going live from the university?
Yes, I actually have school tomorrow and Saturday, so we'll be broadcasting from our school, from my building, as well as we'll be interviewing my weatherman. So excited.
Oh, yeah. I am so
we have some questions for him. I have some questions from Farmer's Almanac questions.
And want to know what he can do about this weather.
Yes. It's raining here. I have a bad hair day. It's raining terribly.
Yes. Reyna Gobel, thank you so much for joining us today on Dog Hugs and enlightening our audience. And folks, thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Bye,
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Reyna.